Good morning. I'm Reverend Kristen Powell, and welcome to our Unity of Walnut Creek service today.
And I'm Brenley Rada. Welcome to our service. So our production crew with us today in the sanctuary includes John, Dave, Gus, Charlie behind the camera, and Annie.
We're expanding our crew. So are you seeing bluer skies and smelling clearer air? You know, we got to work our principles to bring that forth. So let's all do that. Let's hold that there is health and clarity and imagine that together, visualize that together, and pray rain upon the fires.
Yes, amen. So I'm pleased to welcome back our featured artist, Mark Stanton Welch. So let's go straight to Mark's house with a song titled When the Balance is True.
Well, what a delight to be here. Welcome back to Walnut Creek. Yay. You may have noticed here on the side that I have a new contraption. It's the latest in guitar playing. It's kind of an automatic arm. Not really. This is a result of me having a dance with gravity. It was a very interesting experience. I won't go into it, but let's just say I'm in it for about another 4 weeks. My first surgery. Yay. But here we are. There's come a day. It's been so long. I stand right up. I am so strong. I am filled with light. I am open wide. Every cell in me is now unified. I raise my hands. I lift my eyes. I shout to the world. I am alive, and I dwell in the now. I flow like the wind. I'm so solid on the earth, like I never have been. I have built my life a beauty, and I fill it up with love. And I manifest all I desire, whatever I dream of. And I have all that I need to be, the everything I am. And the love of God, it just flows through me, pouring through my hands. Now the balance is true. Now the balance is true. The balance is true. The balance is true. The balance is true.
Thank you, Mark. And we see every cell in your arm in true balance as you continue to heal. Now, let's all get balanced as we ground in unity. Unity is a positive path for spiritual living. And our vision for the world is we envision a spiritually awakened world where all life thrives in conscious oneness. Our mission is who we've come here to be. So let's say this together. We are a loving, inclusive community, expanding and living our divinity in sacred service for all. Our core values are love, connection, service, and wisdom. If you're with us for the first time, welcome. You are invited to fill out a connection card. Connection cards are available for everyone on the Watch Live page. You may submit a prayer request, and our prayer team will pray with you throughout the week. You may also share feedback or request information.
Our classes and events are currently held online, can also be accessed by phone via Zoom. And here's a few announcements and exciting opportunities coming your way.
Oh, Unity's Board of Trustees invite you to our community gathering via Zoom today at 1:30. Our board officers will update you on finances, our 2021 budget, facility repairs, results from the reopening survey, and what to expect from our annual meeting and voting this year, and more. Your board wants to explore what's next and hear what's on your heart. So please come today at 1:30 to share your feedback, ideas, and questions.
Look forward to gathering together. And we can, if you would be interested in delving into your spiritual depths by examining the insights in Eric Butterworth's book, Discover the Power Within You, a Unity classic. This 6-week class, you'll discuss how to pray, find confidence, healing, and more. It starts tomorrow night. So pre-registration is required. Please see our website for more information.
And we are seeking members who would like to serve on our board of trustees. If you're feeling that knock on your heart, please complete a board nomination application available on the homepage of our website. Submit your application by Sunday, September 27th.
Well, that's a wonderful opportunity to step into further leadership here in our community, and we also have a wonderful opportunity for you to step into further ministry in our community. If you feel called to pray with others, we invite you to consider becoming a prayer chaplain. If you're interested, please complete a prayer chaplain application. It's available also on the homepage of our website. And also, we're asking for those by Sunday, September 27th. That seems to be the magic date. And mark your calendar, too, because our training will be October 9th and 10th.
And we're excited to offer the Magic of Sanskrit Mantras class in the evening starting on Monday, September 28th from 7 to 9 p.m. The class will be led by Lena St. Michael, who has created a special message for this class. So let's watch.
Blessings, dear ones. What a joy. I'm so enthused to share with you the magic of Sanskrit mantras and the power of high volume repetition of sacred sound formulas for more focus, energy, health, and peaceful vibes wherever you are, anytime, anywhere, and in any situation. You'll discover how mantra japa with Sanskrit is pure application of universal principles, subtle body theory, and definitely I'll show you how it works with modern science too. I'll teach you at least 5 essential classical mantras. Don't worry, some are just one line long. And I will show you how to use a mala for counting. I'll give you lots of audiovisual resources too that'll help your practice and also your enjoyment. So join me, the magic of Sanskrit mantras. Namaste.
Yeah, so join us for the transformative power of Sanskrit mantras from a gifted teacher who has been chanting Sanskrit mantras for 20 years. Lena has been mentored by internationally revered yoga masters, including Amma, the famous hugging saint from India.
That's how we met Lena, in fact.
Yep.
While getting a hug from Amma.
Yeah.
Please see our website for a full listing and login information for all of our events. If you are not receiving our weekly e-news, please use the connection card to sign up so that you can stay informed. Following our service today, we invite you to jump on the virtual patio conversation at 12:45. It might be a little shorter today since we have the 1:30 community gathering, but still some time to say hello to your friends and even pray with a prayer chaplain in a private room.
So now, as we prepare for our time of meditation, let's ground with our statement of faith. Let's take a deep breath together. And another deep breath. Together. There is only one presence and one power in the universe and in my life. the all-loving goodness of God.
And as we move into our time of meditation a little further, I'm going to begin with a reading, and that will be followed by another song by Mark, some guided meditation in silence. So this reading is called Song 23. It's from a book called Earth Psalms by Angela Magara. I got this from Michelle Chikala, whose friend Angela is a part of her reclaiming group. The goddess is my mother, my sister, my community. My supply is in her. She is the flow of the river and the soft grass of the meadow. In her I am restored. She is the paths I walk each day and the wisdom I discover in my life. Though I find myself in the deepest darkness, I am not overcome with fear, nor does doubt drown me. For the sure knowledge of love comforts me. Though I am surrounded by anger, I can sing and dance, for I rely on the joy that is in her heart. When I'm afraid and in trouble, my hands open to her, dropping into the release of her care. I am content with the compassion of the earth and will abide in the places love creates all the days of my life, as long as I live. And so it is.
Guide me through this life. Direct me, my holy self, most high. Speak through me. Help me keep my channels clean. Resource my energy. How I love alive. How I love alive. La la la. La 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 la. Guide me through this life. Direct me, my holy self, most high. Speak through me. Help me keep my channels clean. Resource my energy. How I love alive. How I love alive. La la la. La 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 la. La, 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 la.
Guide me, Holy Spirit, whole Spirit of love. Guide me through the challenges that are present in my life and in this world. Take these words into our hearts. And each of us with this prayer of invocation beckoning of Spirit to show us the way, to illumine our paths, illumine our minds and our hearts. The spoken intention of prayer, our minds are illumined. Our awareness is cast upon an open mind, a willing mind, a listening heart. Guide me, O God, with the light that is cast before me, so that every step I take in my life is a step toward wholeness, a step toward the light-filled world I want to live in, and the light-filled self I am in truth, and I am becoming in my embodiment here on earth. And so in this quiet time, we allow ourselves to be infilled with divine light. The light that chases away the dark. The light that brightens our energy, uplifts our minds and our hearts. Allows us to see the beaming light at the end of the tunnel. Where there is darkness and challenge, there is greater light waiting to break through. We walk with courage and with faith, guided by that light. So let us infill with the light that guides and directs our steps, the light that we shine upon the world. Let there be light, and let us be filled to overflowing with that light. And so we rest in the silence and see how the light breaks through, fills our conscious minds, our willing bodies, our open hearts in the silence. And now fully illumined with the light of God, with the divine that infills, and that light that expands beyond us. We shine our light out into our world, that others may find that light within themselves, that others may find their way back to the divine. Through any dark places in our lives and in our world are now illumined. We ourselves have become the candle of hope, the light that shines for all. And so we thank you, Spirit, for continuing to guide us, to illumine our every step, and to shine brightly this divine truth of who we are. It shines through our thoughts and our words and our actions. It shines all around wherever we are present. And when we lose our way, pray the simple prayer, guide me. Back to the light we go. So we thank you, Spirit, for this dance of light, for the constant guidance that is right here for us, and for our ability and desire to shine our light upon the world. And so it is.
Guide me through this life. Direct me, my holy self, most high. Speak through me. Help me keep my channels clean. Resource my energy. How I love alive. How I love alive. La la la. La 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 la. La, 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 la.
The Lord is my shepherd. I lack nothing. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul. God leads me on right paths for God's name's sake. Even though I walk through the darkest valley, I fear no evil. For you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup overflows. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. That's probably a familiar psalm to many of you, Psalm 23, or at least parts of it that you've heard before. We're in a series now called Prayers of Perseverance. It seems pretty timely. And this is our second week. So this week we're looking at Psalm 23, believe it or not. And we're going to take a moment to just not so much take it apart, but hone in really on a message for our modern day times that can be called from these familiar words in the Hebrew Scriptures. It's also known as the Divine Shepherd and the Psalm of David. So it has some historical context as well. So, the Lord is my shepherd, I lack nothing, the opening line. What is a shepherd? A shepherd is one who cares, right? A shepherd is one who takes care of those who are in his or her charge. The shepherd is a protector. The shepherd can be a guide. The shepherd is someone to lean on. It's our source. And when we lean on that source, we lack nothing. Or as it sometimes says, I shall not want, depending upon the version you read. So I want for nothing. I lack nothing. My abundance is fulfilled when I lean on this source that guides and protects me, this shepherd, this divine shepherd. And then it says, the one who makes me lie down in green pastures, who leads me beside still waters, who restores my soul. So we all know what it feels like to be restored in nature, to be in those places of bounty and quiet and beauty, and to feel that sense of restoration and rejuvenation for our souls. Our soul is restored when we attune to Mother Earth, when we attune to Mother Nature, to that beauty and to that stillness. Or as put in another version by Dolores Stewart Rossio, the earth is my mother, I shall not want. She nurtures me in green pastures. She freshens me with flowing waters. She restores my body and awakens my soul. Both versions remind us of this restoration, of what nature can provide us, this kind of respite. It reminded me, because the context of today and not being able to really get out in nature as much lately because of the air quality, reminded me of a story. In 2005, I took a group to Peru, and my sister came along, my sister Kay. So she and I roomed together, and on the first morning, we were walking down to breakfast together. And everybody we passed, she said very loudly and proudly, because my sister is very friendly. She's one of those people they say has never met a stranger, right? So everyone we passed, she said, Buenos Aires. And we get to breakfast, and I said, Kay, you know you're not saying good morning in Spanish, right? And she says, yes, I am. That's what they're saying back to me. And I said, I don't think that's what they're saying back to you. But she was just so sure. And so it continued, you know, when the server came, and then when we finished breakfast, and when we greeted some other people in the room, and when we get to the van, Joe, the Spanish speaker in our group, breaks it down for Kay and says, no, Kay, good morning is buenos dias. She says, well, what is Buenos Aires then? He says, good air? So this story always makes me smile, and it's especially been on my heart and mind these last few days. And so I just offer it to us to have a little humor, to bring forth the affirmation of Buenos Aires, and to begin to greet one another with the affirmation for clear air and for the ability for us to get out and experience more of the respite and the restoration that nature offers us. And so as the psalm continues, God leads me on right paths for its namesake. Well, this is very much like in the Buddhist tradition, right? I'm led to right action, right speech, right thought. And the extra part of that part that talks about the namesake, is just like putting a fine point on it. It's saying basically, when I'm led in this way, I'm aligned with the divine. It's in the name of God that I am living. It is in the name of the divine that I am walking and moving and acting and speaking in the world. Now here's where it gets really juicy. Even though I walk through the darkest valley, or if you like the more poetic version in the King James, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. Now it kind of appears that we might be in this place right now, walking through that dark valley. So it feels like a really good place to spend a little time in this psalm and take a look. Keep in mind that dark valley that is spoken of is not spoken of in a way that we dwell in it. It's not meant to be a place of permanent residence, a place to build a house or pitch a tent. The psalm says, I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, or I walk through the dark valley. And so it's meant to be, there are going to be times in our lives, right? We all know this from our personal life journey. And now we're just experiencing it in this really big collective way. And so in that collective understanding, that collective experience, it might just be a time to walk through the dark valley. It also doesn't say that take this detour. It doesn't say go around the dark valley. It doesn't encourage us or doesn't even offer a detour. There's no spiritual bypass available here. It's basically that we must be where we are and just walk through it. It's going to be okay. And that's the reassurance that we get in the next line. In this next line, it talks about how I fear no evil because you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. Now this, of course, is still working with the metaphor of the shepherd. So the shepherd has a staff, right? The staff, what is that used for? It's like a walking stick. It's a place to rest. It's a place to steady our step. And so the divine offers us that sense of steadiness, offers us a place to rest. There's also the rod that is a part of the staff. So this is all one shepherd's tool. And the rod is to help the flock be protected from predators. The rod is also, in most cases, a gentle way. When we're talking about the divine shepherd, it's certainly a gentle way to keep the flock from straying. And so it's used to help the sheep stay on the path, right? I don't like to think of ourselves as sheep, but I do think it's important that we follow, right? And that we fall into what the divine is offering us. And so the divine in this metaphor is being offered to us as one who guides, as one who protects. And so there is nothing to fear as we move through this dark valley. There's nothing to be afraid of because that guidance and protection is in us and all around us. That shepherd walks beside us and is in the heart of our hearts. And so it's easy sometimes, I think, for us to get, in these times when there's so many different things coming at us, to be overwhelmed or maybe sort of numbed out or perhaps in a frenzied state of anxiety. I don't know where you've been emotionally, but I imagine a lot of us have touched in on some of these places along the way lately. And so if we can remember the promise that is given us over and over again in the world's scriptures, in the prayers, and the poetry of the world, and the truth that we experience in our own quiet times, that in the heart of our hearts, in our restored soul, in our soul that relaxes into that restoration, we know that there is comfort here. We know that there is guidance and protection here. And this is just a part of the story. So the valley is dark now. There's no denying that. The air is thick. The smoke is around us. There's fires all around us. There's still a pandemic raging in our country and in our world. Racism is rampant. It seems sometimes like our democracy is crumbling. There's a lot for us to be carrying right now. But I guess this is the point. We don't carry it. We don't carry it alone, certainly. We just walk through. And we are guided, and we are protected, and we are given what we need to be given one step at a time. And every story on earth, if you think about it, every book you've ever read, every movie you've ever seen, every story, the classic plot of every story has a conflict in it. Every hero's and heroine's journey of life has a conflict, probably many in it. We're just in a conflict right now. We're in that part of the storyline for humanity where there is conflict. And we've been here so many times before. We will get through this. And so just acknowledging and accepting that this is where we are and it's not permanent. It's just something we're passing through. And we've got help along the way. As the psalm continues, the story unfolds a little further. The next line is, you prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. Now, in the historical context, it's probably more about King David having a feast laid out for him to be exalted in front of his enemies. So that is a little bit different context than I think what is relevant for us today. I think if we were to fill in the rest of this line for ourselves today, it would be, you prepare a table before us in the presence of our enemies so we can work out our stuff. And that's the offering, that we get to the table to work out our stuff together. We don't like to think of, or we don't really look at, let's say, the circumstances of this dark valley necessarily in the same way. We all have our own minds and experiences and hearts, but it does seem lately like there's sort of two camps that have been forming or that are formed. And while that's a very general thing that I'm about to say, and I recognize there are all kinds of nuances within it, it does seem like we're sitting down now at a table. We're invited to this table, and there's kind of like two sides to that table. On one side, it seems that the conversation, the perception, what we're seeing is that shadows are illumined now, and ways of being that where systems of discrimination are being revealed. And so there are these movements that have jumped out of that, Me Too and Black Lives Matter, or the idea that the poor are getting poorer and the rich are getting richer, or that we got to stop our way of life or Mother Earth is not going to sustain us any longer. And so the folks that seem to be gathering around that perspective, that side of the table, if you will, just for this metaphor, are holding this kind of belief that we must change, that we must fight for change. And then there are people at the other side of the table that seem to be holding a kind of perspective that the way of life that has been so comfortable, the way of life that has been known, the traditions that we stand upon feel like they're crumbling away. And there's some fear that as that slips away, that what the unknown, like all of us fear, right? The unknown is somewhere in that mix. And what is that unknown going to be like? So that old way of life, or that way of life that maybe still feels a little bit present but feels like it's slipping, is threatened. And so those on that side of the table, those of us on that side of the table, are saying things like, we believe we must fight to keep things as they are or as they were. And so it seems to me that that's kind of the general sense of what's happening at our table where we have gathered, hopefully gathered, to work things out. It's a push-pull, really, because the pains of labor are here for us for our growth and for our evolution. And there's something to be offered from both of these perspectives if we could only work together and hear each other and share in each other's hopes and fears, or at least to listen to each other's hopes and fears to create a place of greater understanding where change can happen in a way that feels lasting and real and hopeful for all, that works for all. So the table is prepared for us to work out our differences. That's really what the invitation, I think, of this line is. And it's a place for us to work out our errors, both within ourselves and with each other, to work out our healing, both within ourselves and with one another. It's to forgive and to move forward together. That seems to me to be the offering that maybe is the other end of this dark valley, or maybe it's right in the middle of the valley, I'm not sure. But somewhere along this pathway, there is this table that has been set in the presence of my so-called enemies. We probably don't like to use that term as much, but with those who might hold opposing views to me, perhaps is a different way to say it. In 1971, two people who would have considered themselves arch enemies were actually seated at the same table. They were C.P. Ellis, who was the head of Durham, North Carolina's KKK, and Ann Atwater, who was the best-known civil rights movement activist in that town of Durham, North Carolina at that time. They were assigned to sit together because there was a big conversation around schools, desegregation or segregation, The kids that had been at the predominantly black school had had a disaster happen at their school. And so there was all this conversation about whether they could bring the kids together in the predominantly white school. And so the community was thrown together to have these difficult conversations. And under the facilitation process, these two really arch enemies and symbolic leaders of the two camps had been brought together. And what happened there was the beginning of a relationship, the beginning of an interaction when forced to be at that table as enemies. Because when we look face to face with one another, we suddenly begin to see each other's humanity. We suddenly begin to see that all the otherizing maybe isn't true, that we both have hearts and minds and children and hopes and dreams and fears. And so it began a process that turned into a friendship over time. It didn't happen overnight, like things don't usually happen overnight in that way. It took probably about a decade. But C.P. Ellis and Ann Atwater actually became friends. And that relationship completely transformed C.P. Ellis. He renounced his membership in the KKK. He voted for school desegregation. And he worked towards social justice issues with Ann Atwater, those kinds of issues that she had worked for all of her life. Miracles do happen when we come together in this way. And I think it's the invitation of this verse to come together. That change can come for the good of all if we're willing to come sit at the table that we've been invited to. And then the next verse says, "You anoint my head with oil, my cup overflows." Now this one is about being honored. It's about an acknowledgement of our divinity, an acknowledgement of our responsibilities, of our ability to respond to the invitation to heal. And so it's really, this is what kings and queens would go through, a ceremony of anointing. Remember the times when Jesus' head was anointed with oil by those who revered him as a great teacher. And so there's that old world ceremony that is brought in to this beautiful poetry that says, I am anointed by God. The divinity within me is called forth. I am acknowledged as somebody, each of us is being acknowledged as somebody who can make a difference. The difference between today's understanding and the Hebrew scriptures of old is that we are all chosen. And so this is the invitation for that particular couplet. And finally, surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. That promise that we get to, right? That this goodness and mercy will be a part of, I'll just walk through this dark valley and sit at this table. The goodness and mercy will be available to me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in this divine understanding the rest of my life. By walking this spiritual path, by being willing to say yes, we move into this. We commit to the kind of path that really works for us. Dedri Francois brings it all together in this beautiful song. Let's take a pause and watch and listen.
Brangus Dieve,
Espíritu Sagrado,
Heiliger
Sacro
Geist,
Spirito, Padre di
молитва до Святого Духа,
Hanin Allah Tan Skola Tatinya, Kyantiwan Kon.
全能嘅上主，
Sacred Spirit, God of all people, plants, and creatures of the earth. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me to lie down in green pastures. He leads me, restores me. I am guided in the paths of righteousness. It's my comfort to Sanimu, Nukuyasu, Atilkipafina
Adachto Shoaleb Elohim.
Wir danken für unsere Familien, Freunde und Gesundheit und die Liebe, die wir teilen mit anderen Menschen.
My shepherd, I shall not want. Anointed my cup fills, and I overflow. I'm held, I am loved in the arms of God. I am guided every day in every way.
We trust and know that at every moment all our needs will be met.
It's my comfort to know I'm never alone. I release my fear. God is my source in all
En
things.
este momento pedimos una conexión más profunda en estos tiempos de incertidumbre.
I release my fears because God is my source in all things.
Sacred Spirit, God of all people, plants, and creatures of the earth.
Estamos agradecidos por nuestras familias,
Our health et pour l'amour que nous partageons avec les autres.
Ми повсякчас віримо і знаємо, що всі наші потреби будуть задоволені, сироти будуть нагодовані, наша свобода повернута.
我哋有信心，有一日我哋會再擁有安好同埋健康。
We invite your presence, power, and protection to cover every living being, especially those who work on the front lines to support those who need help. Doctors, nurses, teachers, care support, and all those in public settings. Cover our children and the elderly with your healing light. Cover our minds and emotions with your loving presence so that we may be calm in adversity. Be our voices so we may be kind. Be our eyes so we may be compassionate. Be our hearts so we may be loving. We know that no matter what challenge comes our way, in and through it all is God. In and through it all there is good. I rest peacefully knowing that wherever I am, God is there. Good is there.
I release the fear. Oh, thank you, God. Amen. God is my source in all things.
Cura la paz.
Dios está allí.
Там є Бог, там є добро, там є любов.
Gott ist da, Gutes ist da, Liebe ist da.
Arislang nakang friend to Christosina ekiko.
The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want.
We just met Dedri Francois via online, an online invitation to her music. So really excited to have met a new acquaintance like her with that soulful music, and I know we'll be hearing a lot more from her in the future. So this is really the story of humanity right now. This psalm reflects the different stages, and the story that we're all living is really an invitation that God is giving us, that we have been all invited to. And I know you got an invitation too. I'm not sure if you've opened it and read it yet, but I'm going to go ahead and read the one I got because it's the same one, and it's for all of us. So it says, "You are cordially invited to the house of the divine. surrounded by green pastures and soul-restoring still waters, and plenty of Buenos Aires. To get here, you must walk through the dark valley, but don't worry. You will be guided and protected all along the way. A table is set, and those who hold opposing views will be present. You will be anointed to acknowledge your divinity. You are chosen to work things out. Your cup will overflow with goodness and mercy, and you will want to dwell in this divine house forever. No regrets. In the spirit of the serenity prayer from last week, if we can simply accept that we are in a dark valley right now and a table has been set for us, and we know that God has got our backs, then we can summon up the courage to change the things we can. Imagine if we were to sit at the table and have a feast with no more physical distancing. Doesn't that sound soul nourishing? And imagine if maybe in order to get to that fulfillment, what we're being told is that we need to address the segregation in our minds, the isolation in our hearts. And it would be through that, perhaps, that the divine is asking us to walk, to come, to sit down, to work through, to get to that other side of overflowing goodness and mercy. Let's express no regrets and accept the invitation. I hope you will. I'm going to. Let's keep walking through this dark valley, be willing to sit at the table that has been set for us, and make a world together of goodness and mercy. And as we affirm this together, let's use this throughout our week as our prayer, maybe just simply this last part, this affirmation, or perhaps the whole psalm, if that speaks to you. So let's affirm together. Together, I walk through the dark valley, guided and protected. I sit with the other, and my cup overflows with goodness and mercy. And so it is. Buenos Aires.
So, yeah, thank you. That was a much needed message for me at this time, and I accept the invitation. Yeah. And if you would like to take this message deeper, please join our spiritual growth circles on Tuesdays at 7 p.m. We'd also like to thank Peter for the visuals. Whether you have a joy or concern on your heart today, our prayer chaplains are available to pray with you during our virtual patio conversations after the service. You may also contact them by phone and email, so please complete a connection card on the Watch Live page or click on prayer requests at the bottom of the home page. And our prayer team will be praying with you throughout the week.
Now let's open our hearts to the practice of giving. Our spiritual home thrives with your gifts and your generosity. So I invite you to prepare these gifts as we align with the universal law of circulation. As we give, so we receive. In truth, we know this, there is no lack or limitation. I lack nothing. We've been saying that all morning. Abundance is our true nature.
In addition to sending checks through the regular mail or direct deposit from your bank, there are 2 ways to give online. You may click on the Donate button on the Watch Live page or download the Give app. The Give app is spelled G-Y-V-E.
I invite you now to speak with me our prosperity affirmation together. divine love, one with me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I am joy-filled and grateful. We can go right to the music. This is the Alphabet Song by Mark Stanton.
So way back in 2000, when I was music director still in San Luis Obispo at the Unity there, a fellow named James Dillard Freeman was going to visit the church. He was there to visit Leona, who used to work at Unity Village and was now the minister in San Luis Obispo. She asked me if I'd put together some songs based on his book, Prayer, the Master Key. So I looked through the titles and I found a bunch of interesting titles. One was called The Alphabet of Prayer. Here's what I came up with. I pray at the altar, I pray when I breathe, I pray in the car, I pray in dis-ease, I pray when I'm eating, I pray when I fall, I pray unto God, I pray down the hall, I just pray, 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 I just pray, pray, pray. Oh Lord, hear me pray. I pray with intentions, I pray with my jokes, I pray with my kindness, love, and when I emote. I pray when I'm needy and when I'm okay. I pray for the people. I pray when I quake. I just pray, pray, pray. I just pray, pray, pray. Oh Lord, hear me pray. I pray to relax, I pray when I sing, I pray with my tears, I pray to the unseen, I pray with my voting, I pray wishfully, expectant and yearning, I pray A to Z, I just pray, 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 I just pray, pray, pray. Oh Lord, hear me pray. I just pray, pray, pray. I just pray, pray, pray. Oh Lord, hear me pray. Oh Lord, hear me pray. Oh Lord, hear me pray. Hear me pray.
That was very creative, Mark. I love that alphabet song. So a heartfelt thank you to our musicians for sharing their music with us today. We'd like to support all of our musical guests, so if you'd like to learn more about Mark Stanton Welch, purchase his music, and view his live streaming concerts, you can visit him at markstantonwelch.net. Now, as we bless our offerings, we bless both the giver and the gift. So giving big thanks to you and to the gifts that continue to go forth and multiply through our ministry and in our individual lives as well. Let's take a moment to bless the offering. Together, we give thanks for the ever-increasing, constant flow of absolute good in our lives now.
And let's bless our frontline workers, our activists, and our firefighters. Frontline workers, activists, and firefighters, we love you, we bless you, we appreciate you, and we behold the divine light within you.
Backed by popular demand is Maddie and Millie. They're becoming stars here at Unity, and this is their video on divine humor. Let's take a look.
Hi Unity, it's Maddie and Millie, and we're going to tell you what we talked about at Unity last week. We talked about divine humor and laughter, and I'm going to tell you a joke from my joke book. How do birds learn to fly for the very first time? How? They wing it. Your turn to tell a joke, Millie. Okay. Knock, knock. Who's there? Cow. Cow who? Why did the cow pack up? Why? Because it was moving. Bye, Unity. We love you and we miss you. See you next week. Bye.
Oh my gosh, I cry every time I watch those. I don't know if you're with me. Let's bless our children, our youth. We're also manifesting and welcoming in more youth, so we're adding them to our prayers as well today. So let's bless our youth, our children, and our teachers together. Youth, children, and teachers, we love you, we bless you, we appreciate you, and we behold the divine light within you. And please join me now in saying the prayer of protection as we do. Let's hold all of humanity and our earth in our minds and hearts. Together, the light of God surrounds us. I am light. The love of God enfolds us. I am love. The power of God protects us. I am power. The presence of God watches over us. I am presence. Wherever we are, God is. I am divine. And so it is.
Stick around until the end of the service. We have community member selfies that you won't want to miss, and we need more. So please send your selfies or your waving videos to office@unityofwalnutcreek.org. And now our peace song.
Don't forget to check our website for Zoom details for our community gathering at 1:30. Look forward to seeing you there. And remember, you are the light and the love and the peace on earth right now.
So let your light shine.
Have fun and spread joy.
There will be moments, there will be times. Life will seem crazy, like life is on fire. I can go running, I can go hide, or I can choose power and dance in the fire. Whoa, I'll take what I'm given, I'll swirl and I'll twirl and make it all mine. Oh, I'll never be shaken as long as I face life and dance in the fire. There will be moments, there will be times. Life will seem crazy, like life is on fire. I can go running, I can go hide, or I can choose power and dance in the fire. Whoa, I'll take what I'm given, I'll swirl and I'll twirl and make it all mine. Oh, I'll never be shaken as long as I face life and dance in the fire. Dance, dance, dance in the fire, dance in the fire, choose my power. Dance, dance, dance in the fire, dance in the fire, I'll be strong. Dance, dance, dance in the fire, dance in the fire, choose my power. Dance, dance, dance in the fire, dance in the fire, I'll be strong. Oh, I'll take what I'm given, I'll swirl and I'll twirl and I'll make it all mine. Whoa, I'll never be shaken as long as I face life and dance in the fire. There will be moments, there will be times. Life will seem crazy, like life is on fire. I can go running, I can go hide, or I can choose power and dance in the fire. Oh, I'll take what I'm given, I'll swirl and I'll twirl and I'll make it all mine. Oh, I'll never be shaken as long as I face life and dance in the fire. Whoa, I'll take what I'm given, I'll swirl and I'll twirl and make it all mine. Oh, I'll never be shaken as long as I face life and dance in the fire. As long as I face life and dance in the fire. As long as I face life and dance.